Hello, my name is John and welcome to my channel. If you've been here before, then welcome back, and if you've not been here before, then hopefully the next time I say welcome back it will be to you. So far, given my previous 3 videos, I've had 1 viewer because the rest are mine. So if I'm talking to you, then welcome back, and if it is you, then I'll be a miracle that you returned. So if you're thinking about switching off because of the surroundings, the camera, no fancy microphone or anything like that, then I promise you that this channel is for you. Because if you're the kind of person who judges somebody's character and knowledge by image, then you're already going just a bit too far wrong there. Because knowledge is not based on something that you look like. Now, we do know that the world does like to judge according to appearance, but this is one place that you do not want to make that mistake, okay? Because I just might have something to offer you here, or somebody you know that you're not going to get anywhere else. And I promise you, you are not going to get this anywhere else. So given the fact that this is the only place that you will get what I'm giving, I would suggest at the very least you have a little taster before you buy. Okay, so let's just stick around, give me a moment and we'll see where we go with this. Now before I carry on, I'm going to read this out on the beginning of every video that I make from here on. This is video 4, okay? So, okay, this is just something that everybody needs to take in, alright? Right, these are my own words, it's very short. Never be afraid to stand out. The following my own words, but do they apply to you? A single rose will never go unnoticed. It does not blend in within a group of its kind. When you look upon it, you offer that one and one only your full focus and appreciation towards its beauty. But no rose that sits among its kind will ever be appreciated as an original. Give me a second, my friend. One of the problems I do have with this site is lighting, and I can never win. I can never win with this camera in this room. So, but we'll get there. You can see me, you can hear me. So I'm probably just going to move this little bit. I've got the back door open just to give a little bit of extra light, but it's not perfect. Okay, but we're not all rich. We can't all afford the equipment. So that is, well, there you go. If we match that to that. These people all go out and they want to look the same. They want the same microphone, the same camera, this, that and the other. Which what they're saying is that they don't actually believe that they have anything interesting enough to capture your captivity without them looking good first. Well, that's a very big error that we all make in life. Generally times we've lost out because we've judged by appearance. I'm not saying I'm ugly or anything, but this is certainly not what you'd expect when you click on a YouTube channel. And most people who are just sitting there on the sofa, and people just click straight off and say, what have you got to say that I want to hear? Well, if you're a parent, well, this is definitely for you, especially if you've got a child that's a bit rogue and off the rails a bit, because this might be something that they could watch. And if you can get them to sit down and watch this one video, and you can say to them, look, you know, blackmail them a bit, I'll buy McDonald's if you watch this video, you never know what you might achieve from it. So if you are somebody of that sort and you're sitting down and you're living a bit of a rogue life, okay, and you're thinking to yourself, this guy's just going to come out with some kind of garbage that I don't want to hear, but I'll sit for it for the sake of keeping mum and dad happy, then I don't care why you watch it, as long as you watch it, because I promise you this, by the time we're done, the chances are you're not going to be thinking like that. I never speak on anything that I have not experienced in, and you might be able to look at me and think, yeah, this guy looks like he might have lived a bit of a rogue life somewhere down the line. You're too right about that. So I do know what I'm talking about, so I'm not giving you an opinion, I'm giving you a fact. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the whole bigger picture behind your actions or potential future actions, and this video is about hoping to prevent you from committing those future actions. So what's this about? Well, first of all, we're going to sit here and I'm going to tell you that whoever's watching this video, you are guilty. You are guilty. Outright. You are not innocent, you are guilty. But what are you guilty of? Well, in your heart, only you know what you're guilty of. But there's many, 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 many different things that some people don't even know about, that only you as yet know about. Or maybe there's some people that know, but you don't know that they know. And the only other people that know are your victims. Now, when you say to somebody, your victim, it sounds like I'm saying you're a murderer or something like that. No. There's different forms of wrongdoings, and not all of them have to apply to against the law. There's moral wrongdoings, immoral wrongdoings, shall we say. So what are the consequences of your actions that you have long forgotten and you've put behind you and you think are done and dusted, swept under the carpet, and everything's all rose in the garden because it was however long ago? What are the consequences? Well, they're the same consequences that people today who commit the same things you did back then having against their victims. Don't ever think just because you've forgotten about it and it seemed minor that the victims have forgotten about it. Because there's always a victim at the end of some wrongdoing somewhere, okay? And people don't always easily forget a wrongdoing done to them. Did you hear what I just said? People do not always forget wrongdoings that are done against them. And some people, when they have a wrongdoing done against them, want to go out and do a wrongdoing against those who wronged them. So what are they doing? It's tit for tat. But the person who's now thinking, I need to seek revenge against somebody who thinks that what they did was long ago and done and dusted, they too are guilty of something against somebody else. And they think that what they did was done and dusted long ago, but they're now planning against them. So they're planning against them for what they did to them, while they're planning against them for what they did to them. Everybody's guilty, and everybody thinks that they've got the right to go out and seek justice against somebody who's done them a wrong. But we're all guilty. If there's one concept that exists in the human race more than anything, it's hypocrisy. Hypocrisy. Everybody wants to go out and seek revenge against somebody who's done wrong against them, regardless of how long ago it might have been or the distance of time that we've seen or heard from them. But how many people go out and say, do you know what? 10 years ago you've done me a right old good one. I now want to reward and repay you for what you did to me. Well, that would be nobody, or virtually nobody. So then again, we've got hypocrisy. I want to punish those who've done wrong to me, but I don't want to reward those who did good to me. So most of the time, people we do wrong to are people who did good to us. So it's just hypocrisy all round, isn't it? It's the three-course meal of hypocrisy going on here. But let's just see if we can save some lives and save some people for some prison time. Excuse me a second. Just to let you know, I do like a nice cup of soup on the go as I go. So far, have I made any sense whatsoever? Have I niggled a bone somewhere? Are you a hypocrite? If someone's done you a wrong and you're sitting there and you're nargling your teeth, regardless of what that wrong might be. I mean, there are some exceptions. You know, some people do the most outrageous things that we would never even conceive the idea of doing. But let's just say someone's, someone's actually slept with your partner. Okay, that outrages us. That makes us want to go, especially if it's a friend or family member. You know, some consider one to be the same as the other. That's how close we are to people. And we think to ourselves, well, I've got to get revenge on this. I've got to go and beat this person up. Let's say, okay, and this has happened. So this has happened. I'm sitting outside a cafe at a table, nice meal, cup of tea, got my daughter with me, okay? And we're just having a lovely day out. What have we done wrong to you? What have we done? What have we done wrong? What have we done that deserves you to come and cause us anxiety, fear and pain? Especially my daughter. Nothing. If you come along and you start causing my daughter a bit of grief and she's just sitting there innocently doing nothing but being a child, what would you expect my actions towards you to be? What would you expect that to be? Expect it to be next to what it should be. What should I be? What should I be? Should I get up and smack you in the mouth? Is that what I should do? Is that what I should do? Is you sure? You sure about that? Okay. Let's just say you and your enemy, for whatever it is that they've done to you, which you'll find that you yourself are guilty of doing to somebody else, it's hypocrisy. Everybody wants to get revenge against somebody except those who are getting revenge against them. Hypocrisy, hypocrisy, hypocrisy. So there's you and there's this enemy of yours. You meet up in this outdoor shopping centre. I'm sitting having a cup of tea with my daughter. And you both start having a go at each other. You're now in a public arena. You're not behind closed doors. So you're having a go at him because he made you a victim. Now who's your victim? We are. Everybody in earshot and eyeshot is now a victim of yours. Okay, so the first consequences of your so-called I've got to get revenge because he did me wrong is to do a wrong one to every single person in ear and eyeshot, whether they're in a shop, a house or on the street, it doesn't matter. You're making this a public arena. It's become a verbal boxing match and everybody's a spectator. But this is some boxing match that people have not paid to see and they don't want to see and they want to get on with their daily life and they certainly don't want their kids seeing it. But that's not something that you've taken into consideration the moment you start shutting your mouth off. But yet you're having a go at somebody for doing you a wrong one. So you're saying that you've got the moral high ground, but that went out the window the moment you started making everybody else a victim of your verbal abuse. Because you're not sitting there saying tickly under there and going, hey mate, oh blimey. You're literally blurring out the things that children shouldn't have to hear. But that doesn't conceive in your head. So all of a sudden, you are now in the wrong and you're no better than the person you're having to go at because you've not sat down and thought, well, what's the rights about this situation? What should I do? How should I deal with this situation? There's many ways of dealing with it. But the first one that you're thinking of, because it all starts off with verbal, doesn't it? It all starts with verbal, and then it gets a bit closer and a bit closer and a bit closer, and the braver and the braver and the braver. But then the nerves start setting in, doesn't it? Because you realise you're in a situation you can't get out of. If they come at you with fists, you've got to stand your ground, because otherwise you're going to look weak, because you started running your mouth off, but you can't back it up. But it's got to be violence, okay? You can't sit down and have a discussion. I mean, God forbid that you can sit down and talk like normal human beings. After all, I mean, it's not as if you've been on this planet long enough to suddenly learn that the way you're dealing with things leads to nothing but destruction. And we're going to get to that in a minute. Nothing but destruction, but for who? Who's that destruction for? So you're literally banging it off at each other and everybody's in earshot. You're now becoming a public statement to everybody of what kind of person you are. But this isn't just there, is it? Because everyone's now got their cameras and their videos out and you're going viral. And this doesn't disappear. This stays alive forever. Ever. So the future generations of your family or friends are going to be seeing this. What kind of influence is that to your kids and your grandkids? Look at a video. You go around, your kids go around their mate's house. Or look at this video of your dad in the street making a mockery, doing this, beating someone up, verbally abusing everybody in the streets. Old ladies and children having to listen to it. That's what kind of dad you have. All of a sudden, your kids are getting abused at school and verbally mouthed off. But we just said, whose life are you destroying? So who's becoming your victim of your actions while you're trying to defend something that was done against you? But you think you're in the right and you've got the right to sit there and have a go at this person. Yet you yourself are harbouring the most deepest of secrets that you don't want anybody else to know, because you know full well that it would mean that many other people would be coming at you just the same as you're going at them. The hypocrisy of it all. The hypocrisy. So you're going at each other, right? And you've got all these victims, because they are victims. Everybody's there having to listen to this and sit, and all they want to do is get on with their daily lives in a peaceful world. And you've gone, I don't give a stuff what you think. I'm all about me. He's done me a wrong and she's done me a wrong, and then I must have my say, my revenge. So let's take a look how this is going to end for you, because it ends like this a lot. A lot. First of all, you have no idea what that person's packing. None. You've got no idea what they've got in their pocket. It could be anything. Anything at all. It could simply just be their wallet, their keys, and their hands, and their phone. Okay? But it could be more than that. And we do live in an age where people who never would have ever gone packing are now packing. And not just because they're violent, they want to kill people, but it is literally for self-defence. So some people, knowing that that's illegal, they do so because there's a great chance today that you could just end up having somebody come behind you and stab you one. So you've got no idea what's in their pocket. They've got no idea what's in your pocket. So now you're starting to wonder each other, was this a good idea? Is this just going to be a verbal thing? If I try to walk away, are they going to say, oh, I've not finished with you? And then no matter how much you try to walk away, you've got to stand your ground, otherwise you look like a coward. You can't conceive it just to be the fact that you turn the other cheek and you walk away because you know that what you're doing in this public arena is wrong. You can't take that into advisement. You just got to say, well, I can't look weak. Do you know how many people said, I can't look weak, have family weekly visits down the graveyard? First one beginning in the morgue, because they couldn't look weak. They'd rather look dead than weak, really. You're not going to look very weak when you're dead, are you? You're not going to look like anything, because you're not going to be here to look at. But, you know, people have got to have what they've got to have, isn't they? Their pride. So far, everybody in eye and earshot is a victim of yours and they've done absolutely nothing wrong. But then you're here to punish them because they've done something wrong to you. What if everybody around you suddenly got up and came at you for what you're putting them through? You'd be mincemeat in 5 minutes if they acted the same way as you do. But they don't. Some would interfere and say, leave it out, sunshine. Let me tell you. And then they end up getting stabbed by one of you. So let me tell you the consequences of your actions and who the true victims are. Right, you get into a fight. How many people are killed every single day by a single punch to the head? And you have no idea if you're going to be the one landing that fatal blow. Or a kick to the kidney, a stamp on the head. You've got a stamp on the head, right? You've got a stamp where the brain is. And then just declare self-defence. No, I didn't know, Your Honour, that he might die when I stamped on his brain. I didn't know that. I stamped on his chest and burst his lungs and his heart. I didn't think about that because I had to have my revenge. Because he slept with my partner, or he stole 10 quid out of my wallet, or whatever the reason is, because I can assure you this, the more often than not, there's no reason enough to go out and do what you're doing, and there isn't. So, you're now potentially, the moment you start coming close and start throwing punches, you are now potentially a potential murderer, because you don't know how this is going to end. So, And in the end of the day, this is how it's going to end for one of you. One's going to end up in the hospital or the morgue, and the other one's going to end up in prison. So how's this going to end? How are you resolving the situation? That's how it ends. Morgue, hospital, prison. So who's the victim of your crime? Is it you? No, you get what you deserve. Why do you get what you deserve? Regardless of what they've done wrong to you, at your age, this is not the first time you've experienced a situation where someone's done you wrong. And if you have not yet found a way to develop the way to deal with this situation without violence, then what good are you to the world? What good are you to the world? If you're just going to literally throw punches and potentially kill somebody every time someone annoys you, then what's the point in your life? You need to find some other way before you end up in the morgue or prison. Because that's the only final destination when you get into these situations. It's the only final destination. But you've got to have that one moment to prove yourself to your friends, because maybe they're encouraging you. So you're punching 10 bells out of each other, okay? Or you're just mouthing it all straight away. You end up picking something up and throwing it at them, hit them in the head, bang, you kill them. Or maybe that stone or something you've thrown, that weapon you've thrown, has gone past them and hit an innocent victim. Because this happens every single day. You see in America shootouts, innocent people getting shot. But they don't care as long as they get their target. Anything else is just, it's just, what do they call it? Casualties of war, is it? Really. So, but you've got to have that revenge. While you're harboring all your wrongdoings to the world, you're wanting to seek revenge for them against you. Yet you know full well you're twice as bad as them. So let's have a look at the victims. Right, first of all, if you kill somebody, okay, and more often than not, fights do end up in deaths today, with stabbings, near deaths. If you've got children, well, this is what's going to happen. Your children are going to get bullied in school because mum or dad is a killer. They're in the newspaper, they're on the news. So they're going to get victimised, they're going to get bullied, and they're going to get beaten up. And if the person you've killed has got children, they're going to come after your children because daddy killed my daddy. So we've got to go for them, right? Then we've got your family. You're not here to protect them because you're either dead, in casualty, or you're in prison. So you've got nothing that you can do to stop this. Then we've got your family. Windows going through, graffiti all over the doors, being bullied and abused and beaten up in the street because of your actions, because you do represent your family. Even though they don't condone what you do, in society we do not live in a just and moral society. Who cares? Everybody's looking for an excuse to be a drama queen and start something. Everybody, which is why you're there in that situation in the first place. So now, you're not there. Remember, you're not there to protect them. So you've now removed yourself from any arena that there is to protect your family from whatever consequence there might be for them. So you're now responsible for their demise because you had to have that moment, but you didn't stop to think about who the true victims of your crimes are. So they've been bullied and victimised, your kids have been bullied and victimised. Then there are other children on the other side of the spectrum whose mum or dad are dead because you had to have your revenge. So they're now lost their parent and that child's done nothing. And a child losing a parent. Child losing a parent. Really? Really? That child's got to lose a mum or dad who they love very much because you got pissed off to the point where you just had to steam in without thinking about the consequences because somebody done you a minor wrong. A minor wrong. But everybody's got to pay as long as you get your pound of flesh. Yeah, as long as you get your pound of flesh. You can't be a normal, sensible, grown, mature adult about it. You can't find some other way of dealing it. Like, okay, you and I, we don't like each other. We don't agree. We're not going to get on. Okay, you've done me a wrong and I can't get over that. Let's just leave each other alone. Walk away and have nothing to do with each other. And we see each other in the street, just walk on by across the road. You can't do that. You can't do that. I mean, that's not in your vocabulary to do something like that, is it? Or is it? Is it? I don't know. Only you know. Only you know. So we've got your side of the family who's literally getting abused and bullied and mocked and victimised, and you see it all the time on the news and on the internet. Families getting done over and their windows getting put through because of something that somebody in the house did that had nothing to do with the rest of them, but everybody's got to have their pound of flesh, yeah? So they're getting revenge against your family for something you did because you had to get revenge against them for what they did to you or somebody in your family. It's never increasing circle and nobody wins, and it just keeps going on and on and on until everybody's dead, basically. So that you've made your family now victim because your children no longer have daddy around, your missus no longer has their partner around, so the man or the woman that they love, they're out of the scene, they're not there, they're in prison, they're not there protecting them, you're not being the protector, you're not being the provider. If you are working, they've now got to go on benefits, which means they can lose their home because you know that works today. Okay, so the consequences just echo over and over and over. It's like the ripple in the pond, okay? But then on the other side, you've taken away their parents, their parents or even their child. Okay, so they've got to suffer by losing a loved one by something they've not done. Everybody's getting abused. Everybody's getting beaten up. Everybody's getting the house smashed up with graffitis on the wall. Everybody. Everybody, because you had to have your pound of flesh. Let me just have a drink. Then we've got the victims surrounding, everybody watching, everybody listening. Okay, children, women, they're all fearing. You start knocking 10 bells out of each other. This is something that people see that they can't unsee. They can't unsee it. A child is never going to unsee that, what you're doing. And what you're doing is you're showing all these children, if you've got a problem in life with somebody, this is how you deal with it. What kind of role model are you? What kind of example are you to the world? I don't know. Who knows? If everybody, we've all done wrong to somebody, we've all done wrong, and I've done more than my fair share. We've all done that wrong, right? And we all went to seek revenge against everybody who'd done wrong against us. Do you know what that would be? It would be a case of everybody getting up and fighting everybody right to the point where the last man standing wins. It would just be one big war zone in the street because we're all guilty and we've all had something done against us. Now, I live on my own. I have nothing to do with this world. Nobody, no women, no friends, no family, nothing. Nothing. The only person I talk to in Dinsbury is my daughter. But when I say nothing, I mean nothing. I cut myself off from a world that is as it is, so that I don't have to deal with its shenanigans. And if anybody does do me wrong, I've got that block button. Block, see you later, bye, don't door on my door, go away. I've learnt my lesson not to deal with you again. I want nothing more to do with you, go away. Is that how I used to deal with things? A man called my partner a nasty name about 28 years ago. I beat him so bad he was unconscious. I then took his shoes off just to make sure he wasn't faking. I set his legs on fire with a lighter. Not on fire, but I burnt his legs. And he was unconscious. I then took his shoes, and when he woke up, I made him go up the stairs and jump out the top window with no shoes on. Because he called my partner a name. Did I have the right to do that? Not on your chance, did I? What I should have done was grab him by the scruff, open the door, fire him out and said, you're going out of this door and you're never coming back to it again. Close the door and there you go. Could have done that. No, I chose to be the big hard man. Start knocking 10 bells out of him. I could have broken his legs. I could have killed him. He was unconscious. Unconscious and death, they're not too far apart. Whack on the head. Is he dead before he hits the ground, or his head hitting the concrete? Is that what finishes them off and you're on a murder charge? And you've lost your life, you've lost your freedom. So they're being buried. That's one family have lost a husband or a dad. And you're going to prison. So that's another family have lost a husband and a dad simply because you couldn't just do a mutual agreement to go your separate ways and be men, or whatever you might be. Okay, you couldn't do that at your age. You've not yet found a way of dealing with your situations outside of being a thug. But you've got to carry that knife as well, yeah? I can understand why someone might carry a weapon to counteract somebody who's carrying a weapon, but then where do we end up with that? How do we end up with that? Everyone's carrying a weapon to protect themselves, but once you've got a weapon in your pocket, it becomes very hard not to use it if you're losing a fight. Now, I've got nothing against if somebody's getting 10 bells kicked out of them and they think they're in danger of picking something up spontaneously and whacking someone around the head with it. You do what you got to do to preserve your existence. You don't let somebody just do that. Well, you know what, I better not pick that up and hit him over the head because I might kill him. Well, if you think that you might be killed, I mean, there's people don't beat somebody up anymore. They don't stop. Because they've seen it in films, they saw somebody else doing this on the gangster films, they've got to start stamping on heads and ribs and lungs and hearts and kidneys. They're not going to happen until they put this person in a wheelchair. Because there's this rage in them that's been taught. This is acceptable, especially in your films, which literally glorify gangsters. And that's all you get in there. Gangs. Wear that face mask, wear that hat, go out and wipe out as many existences as you can. Somebody's on your turf, kill them. Someone's stepping your partner, kill them. Someone's on your patch selling drugs, which in itself just makes you a child killer and makes you a scumbag. Kill them. Got to kill them. Got to kill them. Got to shoot them. You've got to stab them. And all these films glorify it, but all the actors in these films, they're acting. They get to take that costume off and that persona, they go home with all their money and they live the life of Riley. You go out and copy what they do, thinking because they didn't get caught, you're not going to get caught and you're dead. Mum and dad are burying you a week later, or you're in prison for murder, and you've murdered somebody you shouldn't have done. You go in prison, you get murdered because you've murdered a high profile person or someone very popular, but you didn't stop to think about that. Because the potential chances are the person you're killing or hurting that you're going to go to prison for has got friends on the inside who aren't too pleased with your shenanigans, and they're going to come looking for you. We won't worry about that, because it's just fairy tales, really, isn't it? Because I wouldn't know, would I? No. So, who's the victims of your crimes? Who's the victim of your crime? Who's going to suffer the most out of what you do in that momentary situation in the long run? Well, it's your families. Their family and your family. Innocent people and everybody in that arena who's watching and listening, because you couldn't be a man, you couldn't be a grown up, you couldn't be an adult about it. You've got to have your pound of flesh against somebody who's done less to you than what you've done and will continue to do to other people. Everybody's guilty, and everybody's got a reason to go out and want to get revenge, just as much as other people have got reasons to come and want to get revenge against you. So if you're not going to be a hypocrite, if you're going to go after people for something they've done against you, you better stand still and let all the people you've hurt come and have a go at you, and you're not allowed to throw a single punch, because by your own standards, you're saying this is right, we deserve our pound of flesh, we deserve revenge, we deserve to get our own back. But if you're going to sit there going after other people for what they've done for you, but you're trying to say, oh no, better hide my wrongdoings, I really want to say what I want to say. I really want to say it. So I'm talking to you, you need to listen. You are not a man just because you put these up. You're not a man because you put these up. You put these up for the following reasons. In defence of yourself. You put them up in defence of the innocent, the weak, the vulnerable, okay? And those who cannot fight for themselves. That's when you put these up. That's what you do. I see two people in the street having a go. I stand up and they get the same speech that you're getting. Are you going to give this speech? Are you the one who gives this speech, or are you the one who's going to need to be given this speech? The choice is yours. Entirely up to you what life you live. You've got one life, and if you're not careful, that life's going to become excessively extinct short in your day. It is. Because people do not resolve their situations with their fists anymore. Or if it is, it's not to the point where the first man down, but even then you whack your head, you're dead. Over and over, single punch, didn't mean to kill him, they're doing life. Coming outside a club, someone spilt your drink, oh, I've got to have a fight. No, it's not. You're just a violent scumbag who's looking to commit violence against another human being, and you're looking for any reason. But while you're standing there doing that, you've got your missus over here who come out for a good night, you've destroyed her night, because she's seen what you're doing because somebody accidentally elbowed you 5 minutes after you accidentally elbowed somebody else, and you looked at them to see if they were going to have a go at you because you wanted to fight, but then somebody did it to you, but then you still considered yourself to be the victim. Hypocrisy. You've got nothing. You can't argue this. I dare you to name and shame yourself in comments. There it is. Knock yourself out. Literally, if you want. So, what do you got? What do you got? This is passion. This isn't anger, this is passion. I don't need to make this video. I'm not going to get any viewers. I'm not going to get adverts. I'm not going to get anything like that. So this is not for my benefit. What do you got? What do you got? You got your lady, okay, who's watching this, who's embarrassed now because of your actions. But your job is to secure her, not just against people, but against yourself. No wrongdoing to your lady should ever come from your hands or your mouth. And even though it's not directed at her, she's still suffering because of your actions, because it's an embarrassment, and you represent her when you're in public and any other time. You are a representation of your lady. A lady wants to see a man, and if somebody nudges him and knocks his pint, he goes, oh, blimey, mate. He goes, don't worry, happens to anybody. I've done it 1,000 times myself. Don't worry, it's only a little bit. Have a good day. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Can you do that? Is that in your armoury? Is that who you are? Or are you that scumbag looking for a fight? Are you that scumbag looking for a fight? If I knock somebody by accident and I split it, they don't turn around. When they look at me, they don't turn around and try and start a fight. They don't do that. I'm lucky. I do have a bit of a persona about me that lets them know, well, you know, maybe not. I mean, I'm not the hardest guy in the world. I'm not the hardest guy at all. But I'm not exactly soft looking. So they do pick and choose, didn't they? They pick and choose. They turn around, they have a look. Oh, he's weak and small, I'll have a go at him. But if he's twice as well, oh, then the politeness and the understanding comes out, the hypocrisy of it all. So it's not even their true nature, it's just something that they're looking for, but they pick and choose. They pick and choose. So the way you conduct yourself in public is a representation of your family, your children, your missus, your mum, your dad, your brother, your sister. Because it's all going to get put on the internet. And anybody who knows your family, who knows you, is going to go to your family and say, look, your brother, your son, your mother, your dad, look at the way they're behaving in public. So they become victims. They become victims. Your business, their business becomes the business of the world. You better start understanding that the cameras are now everywhere. And you're not going to get away with anything. So what you think you're doing in that momentary time, okay, is being seen by the whole world. Nothing you do is secret anymore. Nothing. Virtually nothing. So, what kind of person are you? What kind of human being? Birth, death, everything in between counts for something. Good or bad, right or wrong. As I said in my last video, these are the two choices that you have. At your funeral, is somebody going to tell a lie to make you look good, or someone going to tell the truth to make you look good? You are writing the stories that they're going to tell at your funeral. What's it going to be? A lie to glorify you, a truth to glorify you. What's it going to be? What's it going to be? Because if you don't choose and you carry on the way that you are, because I'm talking to you as if that's your lifestyle, then your funeral, that speech is going to be a lot sooner than you think. A lot sooner. Be very, very, very careful on the paths you choose to walk in this life. Now, a minute ago I touched on drug dealers. We're doing a different video about that, showing you the bigger picture behind what you're doing. All right, every single mouthful of food you put in your kid's mouth, you are nothing more than a hitman of young children. And that money in your hand that you feed down your kid's throat, you're actually feeding them the flesh and the blood and the existence, or the lack of existence, of the last child that you just murdered. You are a child killer. But we'll get to that another day. I can imagine I'm going to be very unpopular on this channel, but it is what it is. What you do with what I do is up to you. But you better start finding a better way of dealing with circumstances in your life. Because for your whole life, regardless of how long or short you might live, you are going to get annoyed with people. A lot of people are going to do you wrong, and a lot of people are going to turn you over. A lot of people are going to bend you over, okay? They're going to use you, they're going to lie to you, they're going to deceive you, they're going to do all sorts of atrocities. And if you don't find another way outside of what we've been talking about in order to solve your problems, then you really are heading for that early grave, or sending somebody else there and the rest of your life in prison. And that's when you have to start dealing with the fact that your partner's now sleeping around with other people because they're not going to wait for you. So they're now with other people. They've had enough of you. They're not going to come and visit you. Your kids aren't going to come anywhere near you. Then your kids get bullied and beaten up because daddy's a murderer and he's in prison. He's a jailbird. So they become victims of your crime. But you had to have your pound of flesh. Yes? You had to have your pound of flesh. So, you can either learn by my history, or my history can be your future. But what's it going to be? What's it going to be? I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Expecting what you heard here? Oh, of course not. Anyone listening and paying attention? Probably not. Probably not. I'll be the only person who watches this video. I'll post it in places, but because of the title, the image and everything else, nobody will go near it. It's a bit dark, but you can see, you can hear me, and that's all that matters. So I'm going to end this right here, because if I've not already said enough, then nothing else I say is going to make any difference. Nothing. Nothing. Now, I sit here alone 24 hours a day. I literally do not keep the company of anybody. No social media chats or messages. Nothing. I literally have nothing to do with what's out there. What on earth kind of life did I live that has made me literally not just back off, but withdraw from the whole world in its entirety, other than my daughter? What? Where have I must have been from the beginning? Well, seriously, that's the question you've got to answer. No women, over 7.5 years, no physical shenanigans, no. So, no, I know you're thinking, how could I possibly deny women such treats? You know, that in itself is a wrong doing. That in itself, I'm making victims of them. I know what you're thinking, and there you go. So he says passion. I've got humour, and my humour is just as much as my passion, but it's a time and a place. I'll drop it a little bit in, a little bit there. But what have you taken from this? Do you know somebody needs to see this? Anybody? Next time you're in a public place and someone starts a fight, a pub or a club, someone nudges you for that pint of beer, someone nudges you coming out of a shop, you've got to turn around and give it the large, have you? You've got to give it the large. You've got to give it the start. You've got to start that fight at McDonald's when you're trying to push into the queue, yeah? You've got to do that because you think you're superior, and then somebody has to go at you for pushing in, rightfully so, but you've got to turn around and see who's talking. If they're small, you've got to start having a go. You better pray I'm not that person. Because if I'm that person and you start, I will pick up a chair and play it for your face. Not if you start giving it. If you give it this, I'll sit there and do nothing. But if you come towards me, if I see your hand in your pocket, you're going to be eating a chair. I'll feed it to you in a bun. Made no doubt about that. I've got no problem in defending my life or anybody else in that queue against anybody. Now, I'm not saying I agree with this, but there was a guy in America, okay, a guy was giving it this to a woman. He wanted to jump in and get his food, and he kept threatening this woman and threatening, and he said, I'm going to knock you out if you don't, keep opening your mouth. She opened her mouth, he punched her in the head twice, her son pulled out a gun and killed him, and it was self-defence and they got away with it, and rightfully so. Because he's punching her in the head. Not only this is a woman, but he's potentially killed. He's not going to stop. You can see he's done it twice. Her son needs to stop him before he kills his mum. And he shot and killed him. And it was self-defence and nothing came of it. So, do you think when he was running his mouth off and he was threatening this woman to punch her in the face just for pushing in the queue, and she was rightfully being respectful and telling him to get behind, do you think he had any idea that kid was going to pull out a gun and shoot him in the chest twice? No. Nope. But he's dead today. He doesn't have a time to think about his actions and to take it back and change his mind. I bet he's wishing now that he listened to her and just got in the queue. He ended his existence because he couldn't have patience enough to wait for his burger in line, according to the way everybody else was. He had to run his mouth off so he wouldn't queue, because he was bullying, then run his mouth off so he was abusing the public arena, then he committed assault, and then he hit a woman. So this guy was just breaking it all over the place, and he ended up with 2 bullets in him, and he's now in the morgue. So, when he woke up that morning, he had no idea, he just had hours to live. And that son had no idea that he had hours before he took a human life. You notice I didn't say he was a killer. It's a difference. Because he got what he deserved. If somebody's hitting your mum, you do, and then you do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. There's witnesses, there's cameras and all this. First of all, they were arrested because there was lack of evidence. Then the witnesses and the cameras came forward and they were released. So, you have no idea. Are you going to make it home tomorrow night or tonight? When you walk out the front door of your family's house next time or your home, is it the last time you ever go through that door? Is it? Is it? The next time anyone hears about you, is it going to be that phone call from the police saying you're in prison or you're in the morgue? Because that's exactly how it's going to end either way. There's no other ending to that lifestyle. You've got 1 or 2 endings as that ends. And then the victim list starts. Both families. So, you know, when you've got a beef with somebody and you want to smack them, you're potentially getting holding a funeral. Their family is potentially holding their funeral, mourning the loss of a loved one. The pain and suffering they're going through is because you had to have revenge over somebody who slept with your partner or spilt your beer or whatever the crap it is you're talking about, because it is crap. Human life is precious. It's precious. Once it's out of existence, you've extinguished it, it's gone. That is one mistake you cannot undo. Now, you might be all the big and bad today, but if people don't change and remorse and regrets and heartaches kick in about their victims, I wouldn't be making this video. I've sat here and cried like a man over my victims. Cried. Begging God, I believe in God, begging God to heal their hearts from the pain and the sufferings that I caused them. When I was 12 years of age, I tried to burn down our playhouse with over 300 people in it. You got nothing on me. Went home to the children's home I was in because I failed, and I set the games room on fire and sat there and waited for us all to burn to death. You've got nothing on me. So am I qualified? But then a woman called my dad a blah, blah, blah when I was there on the weekend by myself. Now, she was right. My dad was a blah, blah, blah. So I smashed her over the head of a bottle, dug a potato peeler into her, and held her hostage for 4 hours. You got nothing on me? Nothing. But yet I'm the one sitting here crying in the morning. Let me tell you the consequences of your actions. I did that to her when I was 13. Okay? I then went to another place after that. When I was 17, I got out. Right? And I had nowhere to go because I was homeless. So social services tried to find me a place to go. I ended up in a place where I ended up with foster brother. I ended up giving evidence against him in court for what he was doing. Because my sister was going to do it and I knew full well what they would do. I was on the inside, so I knew better. So I said, if you cancel your statement, I'll do it so they don't come after you. I'll lose my home, I'll lose everything. For you, for love. I don't think she understood that. But then when I got into court, I never gave evidence. Once it came into the court, I just said, the pictures at the bottom of the garden must have done it. I never actually said anything. It didn't get done. But a war went on for 5 years. 5 years between me and them. 5 years. And it ended up with me getting a knife. Well, we just ended up right there. They had no idea what my final reaction was going to be when they just pushed it too far. But the woman who I did that to in that children's home, she was the first person the social services contacted. But when they told her my name, she put the phone down because of what happened there. If I hadn't have done that, she would have taken me in, and none of that would have happened. I had no idea that one circumstance right there, okay, was going to lead to a war that would go on for 5 years. 5 years after that happened. So you don't know. You end up doing that, their family come after you and you're dead, mate, and they come after you, they break into your house with hammers and crowbars and they do you in your sleep because you had a go at somebody else. You've got no idea, no idea. You've got a moral conscience, you've been brainwashed. You've been brainwashed wearing that face mask, that baseball cap, that hoodie, making yourself look like a thug. Because even if you're wearing these hoodies and your baseball caps and everything else, let's just say you're a decent moral person. We are tied with the same brush as people who dress like that, and most people who commit these crimes are wearing their hoodies and their baseball caps and their face masks in order to hide themselves from the cameras. And most people, when you see, they are dressed like that. So you are going to be tied with the same brush, even if you're not anything like them. Start dressing a little bit like a gentleman, like a man. You represent your family in public, whether it's your children, your mum, your dad, or your friends. Dress like a man, act like a man. Don't be a part of the world. Stuff the system. Stop wearing something because somebody else wore it. Stop attracting thuggery. If you go out in a tracksuit and a hoodie and a baseball cap and you're a decent guy, other people who dress like they were not decent are going to look at you, think you're one of their own, but on the opposite side, they may come after you. They may come after you thinking you're a thug, you're part of a gang, and mistakenly identify you for somebody else and you're the morgue, but you had to wear something because the fashion industry told you to, so you look like a right ponce, okay? Because that's why they released this, but everybody's got to look like because everybody else does. So everybody's got to fight because everybody else does. Everyone's got to solve their situation and problems like this because everybody else does. You can either live with my regrets or you can learn from them. It's entirely up to you. I love you, that's why I do it. No one's going to give a stuff about me. No one wants to hear anything I've got to say. No one's going to watch these videos. But what I do has never been done before, never will be done before, will never be done in this fashion before. But like I say, what you do with what I do is up to you. I do love you, that's why I do it. Take care of yourself, but also take care of each other, because that is exactly what we're here for. Take it easy, guys. Bye-bye.